All right, we are recording. So what you got?
It was 1 8/5. I think that's how you say it.
Okay, you
I
said one
mean,
eighth fifths. Like
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you want to write that as a mixed number?
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay. So now the reason why they said that this is not currently in a mixed number form because of the fraction right here. That's not a proper fraction. In order for it to be a mixed number, then it would have this numerator has to be less than the denominator. So that's why this is not considered being in a mixed number form. So what we'll do is look at this as 1 plus 8 over 5. That's the relationship between those two numbers. And we can go ahead and simplify this or write that as a mixed number by taking 5 into 8. So 5 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract, that'll be 3. So write this like this. So that mixed number will be 1 3/5. So coming back here, we have 1 plus 1 3/5. Remember, this is the same thing. And then we can go ahead and add the ones. So that'd be 2 3/5.
Okay. So where did you get the? Oh, did the other one come from the not the remainder?
This
The
part right
one.
here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Not a problem.
Do you mind if I write that down? Because that was a good question. So,
Yep. Sure.
okay.
That's why I recorded it just in case anybody wanted to review. So yep, most definitely. So wanted to convert to a mixed number. Yep. 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 Let me know when you guys finish, and then I'll move up.
So,
Anybody? Say again.
I have a question. So, even after the 1 3/5, you still have the one from the last from
Ex-
the last 1 8/5. You have to add that?
exactly. Yep. Because this
Okay.
one is still right here, and so that
Okay.
new one came from this one. Yep. While we're waiting for everybody to finish copying notes, anybody else have any other questions? Anybody else? So don't forget, your first test has been posted already. That's coming from chapter 4. This next test will be chapter 5 and 6 together. I believe that's how our homeworks are broken up. Chapter 6 is on the 6-1 and 6-2, so it should be 5 and 6 together. But I'll check to confirm. You know how I told you that I was going to do it, like for every 2 homeworks, then that will be the next test. So your first 2 homeworks were all of chapter 4. Then I'll take the next 2 homeworks and make a test out of that and keep on with that same pattern.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, anybody else? Did we talk about due dates in here? I don't think we did. Um, your due dates for chapter 4 stuff and chapter 5 stuff will be at least, not least, no, you wouldn't be due no earlier than the 5th week. What progress report, 5th week grading. So for those of you who this may be your first semester at Norfolk State, they do a 5th week progress report and a 10th week progress report, in which I have to let them know where you stand at that point. It's not an indication of what your final grade will be, but what it would be at that moment. So in my class, you always have the option of pulling it up. All you got to do is talk to me and let's make some type of plan and discuss where, how you're going to get this stuff made up. And some instructors, they may be letting you know, like, hey, it's a wrap. Like, you know what I mean? So you always want to make sure you keep that in mind. Every instructor is different, and you do want to make sure you're staying on task. If you do fall behind, I'll always give you an opportunity to get this stuff made up. You just got to be willing to put in the work. But so I have to get that official date, though, for the 5th week grading period. Things are a little off now. We started 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and all that stuff like that. So I need to get that date. But 5th week grading is when I'm going to be looking for your first due date. So whatever we covered up to that point, we know we covered chapter 4. That was our first chapter. Now we did chapter 5 and then those 2 sections out of chapter 6. So we know all of that is going to be due during the 5th week grading period. And we'll just see what else, we look at, what else we covered, where we are at that moment. All right. Any questions?
Is that 2 weeks from now?
I don't even know. It probably is. That sounds about right. I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I got so many dates going on in my mind, and that's why I said I need to look it up. But that sounds about right because we've been in about 3 weeks. So yeah, probably be looking for that to be 2 weeks from now.
So does that
Okay.
mean that you connect math done before that?
Yes. So your chapter 4. So all of your content from chapter 4 and chapter 5, you want to have that done. And on 6, remember 6 is 6-1 and 6-2. So chapter
What
4,
about before that?
Hmm?
What about before that?
What you mean before that?
Like chapter 2 and 4?
Oh, well, it's only 2.5. I was including that as a part of chapter
Okay.
4. Yeah.
Okay.
There's only one section at 2.5, which is covering the same type of content. So I was just including that. But yes.
Okay.
So yep. Anything else? Anybody else before we get in there? All right. So remember I said next class Friday, I will give you that as a review day. I'm going to show up at 3. If you decide not to, what you're telling me is that you didn't have any questions, but you can't talk about how I didn't give you opportunity to ask questions, especially if I'm gonna dedicate a whole day for it. And it's fine if nobody show up. I mean, no sweat off my nose. I'm good. I'm gonna be there. I'll stay 15, 20 minutes. If I don't see anybody, then I'll go ahead and assume everybody's good. But if you show up, I'll be there and I'll answer whatever questions you have. So if you want to tally up questions and bring them on Friday, that's fine. Or once again, if you're good, I'll see you on Monday. But outside of that, let's go ahead and look at 7.1. And just want to make sure we did cover this. Yep, cross multiplication, cross products, proportions. Yep. And we did cover this, right? I'm not thinking about another class, y'all. We did cover proportions and stuff last class. Anybody? No? Yes, no, maybe so. I believe I remember doing this. So
Yeah, I think we stopped at 6.3 proportion.
Okay, cool. All right, appreciate that. So let's look at 7.1%, fractions and decimals. So we're talking about percents. That word can be broken up into 2%, and cent is that prefix for 100 or 400. And we see that the symbol, percent symbol, is equal to 1 over 100, and also equal to 0.01 as a decimal. All right, so converting decimals to percent. Gonna locate your decimal. Move your decimal 2 places to the right and place your percent sign. So no calculation. All you're doing is moving your decimal to the right twice, then placing your percent sign. So 0.25, move the decimal 2 places to the right, 25%. If I have 1.8, move your decimal 2 places to the right, even though there's not another digit there or a number, you will use 0 as a placeholder. So that'll give you 180%. And then the same thing with 7. If you didn't, if all you saw was 7 there, you didn't see the decimal, they assume it's to the right of the rightmost digit. So it'll be to the right of that 7. And you move your decimal 2 places to the right, that'll be 700%, using zeros as placeholders. All right. Questions? Any questions? Next one, we're going the other way with it. We just did decimals to percents. This time we're doing percents to decimals. First, we'll locate the decimal. Then we'll move the decimal 2 places to the left. And final step, remove the percent sign. So 37%, move your decimal 2 places to the left. That's 0.37. So whether you put a 0, and what I was emphasizing right here, if you put a 0 in front to the left of that decimal or not, doesn't matter, as long as it's 0.37. That's still the same number. So this 0 right here is not necessarily, well, it's not necessary. I'm just used to doing so. All right. Same thing with 2.9%. Move the decimal 2 places to the left. Use a 0 as a placeholder because the only thing to the left of the decimal was the 2. So that would be 0.029. And then for that 0.6%, same thing. But this time have 2 zeros in front of that 6. In between the 6 and the decimal, 0.006. All right, always remember, if I scroll up too fast, are you still copying? Let me know. So here, we're looking at percents to fractions. So we're going to replace the percent sign with 1 over 100. Remember, that was one of the values for the percent sign. And then we're going to multiply and simplify if possible. So you replace the percent sign with 1 over 100. Then we'll multiply and simplify if possible. All right, first example, if we have 56%, once again, taking the percent sign and replacing it with 1 over 100. Okay, let me do that. All right, so that'll be 56 times 1 over 100. So don't forget, when we talk about multiplying fractions, we just multiply across, and that's what I did here, 56 over 100. Then we recognize there's a 4 in both numbers, so we cancel that out, and that left us with 14 over 25. All right. Same thing for the next one. We have 125%. Replace the percent with 1 over 100. So that'll be 125 over 100. Then we can simplify because we see that 25 is in both numbers. Cancel out 25. That'll be 5 over 4. Don't forget when you talk about simplifying. Oh no, what happened here? Sorry about that. It jumped on me. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. So looking at 125%, I was talking about breaking it down when we get right here. If you didn't see that 25 was in common with both, if nothing else, you see that both of them end in, well, one end in 5, one end in 0. So both of them were divisible by 5. So, you don't have to jump to 25 if you don't see it. You can use smaller numbers. Same thing with the 4 here. If you saw both of them were even, so you can divide them by 2. You can start off with smaller numbers, and if you keep reducing, eventually you'll get to that fraction. All right.
How did you get the fraction below that?
You said this one?
Oh,
Is
no,
it-
above us, the 4.14
Oh,
over,
this right here?
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's 4 times 14. So that's what a 56. So 4 times 14 is 56, and 4 times 25 is 100.
Okay.
Yeah, so that actually connects right there. They're two different problems. All right, any questions? Any questions? All right, I scroll up. Other problem. So here we have 0.4%. So once again, we're going to take that percent, substitute in 1 over 100. But then we have a decimal that's in the fraction, and your fraction is never considered actually in fractional form if you still have a decimal involved. So you do need to get rid of the decimal. And we would do so by multiplying top and bottom by 10. We have this 4 that's in the tens place, so we multiply top and bottom by 10. Because remember, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. All right. So that gives us 4 over 1,000. And 1,000 is 4 times 250. So those 4's cancel, leaving us with 1 over 250.
How do you know what to multiply by?
Because the 4 was in the tens place, so we multiply top and bottom by 10. So now if that was 0.47 over 100, since we have this 47, and there's 2 decimal places, so we would multiply by 100. It's in the hundreds place, so we multiply top and bottom by 100. So if whatever decimal you're trying to get rid of, we have these 2 decimal places, then I use 2 zeros. If that was 473, then I have 3 decimal places. I need to be multiplying both top and bottom by 1,000.
Okay, I get it.
All right. All right. Anything else? Anybody else before we look at the next transition or the next conversion? All right. Next one is fraction 2%. This one will convert fractions to the decimal by division, and then convert the decimal to percent, like we did before. All right. So if I have 3 over 5, I just divide 3 by 5, that'd be 0.6. And then just like before, when we had a decimal, we move that decimal 2 places to the right to convert it to a percentage. All right, next one, 2 1/4. So I would take that 1/4 and convert that part to a decimal. I would leave the 2 out front. So this 2 right here just stays out front. And that 1 divided by 4 is 0.25. So that's 2.25. Then move your decimal 2 places to the right, and that'll give you 225%. All right. Any questions? Everybody good? All right. So 7.2, let me see how short this is. Oh, not too bad. All right, we'll do this and then call it a day. 7.2% problems, percent proportions and applications. So your percent, whatever your percent number is, you can always place that over 100. And then you set it equal to is over of. Some books say amount over, let me see, this is part over whole. Oh, I didn't even erase that. Amount over base. Or they'll call it part over whole. So those are just different terms you may have heard for that bottom number and that top number. This depends on who taught it to you or what the book said. But is over of is another way of looking at it. And we'll emphasize what that means in a second. All right. So if you had the question, what is 30% of 180? All right. So you have 3 parts here that you want to give an account for. You have your percentage, that 30%. So that's the percent number. You can put that 30 over 100. And then if I put this back here, this right here is your is. That's why that's X. And then what is attached to of is 180. And so that's what we mean by is over of. All right, questions on the setup. And then you do your cross multiplication. 30 times 180, 100 times X. Which is what we talked about when we dealt with our proportions last class. So it's 5400 equal to 100x divided by 100, and x is equal to 54. Any questions? Oh, didn't know I emphasized that down here. So same thing. Don't have to recopy that unless you just want to. So once again, we're looking at the same type of situation. We have 40% of what number is 25. So 40%, that's 40 over 100. of is attached to what number? And then is attached to 25. All right. So set up your proportion, 40 over 100. Of is your variable, is 25, so it's 25 over x, is over of. Once you establish how you're going to set it up, you cross multiply. That'll be 40x equal to 2500 divided by 40, and that's 62.5. All right. So another similar exercise. 12.4 miles is what percent of 80 miles? So once again, 12.4, that's going to be our is, because that's what it's attached to. This time, what percent? My percent is going to be unknown. And then we have of 80. So what percent? That'll be x over 100. Is 12.4 over of, which is 80. All right. Cross multiply. 80 times x, 100 times 12.4. Then divide 80 into both sides. That 80 goes into 1240, 15.5 times. All right, questions? Any questions? All right, do you have any more word problems after this? Okay. All right, so in a recent year, the freshman class of a university had 18% Asian American students. If this represented 380 students, how many students were admitted to the freshman class? And it says round to the nearest student. Give you a chance to write that. All right, so let's look at what we have. We have 18%. We already know that percent will go over 100 when we want to set up our proportion. So that's part of it. We have 18% of Asian American students was a part of the freshman class. That represents 380 students. And this says how many students were admitted to the freshman class. So we're talking about totally. So when you go to set it up, the total number of freshmen are the ones that is the number that we want to know. And this 380 represented the part of the freshman class that were Asian. So this is how we would set it up. Remember I said this top number represents part, and then the bottom number represents total or the whole. And so that's how I set that up. Do this right. So once again, it's is over of, or part over whole, or amount over base. So that 380 is over the unknown, which is the total number of freshmen that we want to know that are in the class. Once you have your proportion set up properly, then it's all the same process, wherein we'll take each denominator up to the opposite numerator and multiply. 18 times x, 100 times 380. And we divide both sides by 18. So it's 18 divided into 38,000. So that gives us 2,111.11 repeated. And it tells us to round though to the nearest student. So that would be 2,111. All right, questions? Any questions? All right. So as always, try the stuff out. See if you get stuck on anything. Just like today, two of your classmates brought questions. I'll address them, knock them out. Won't even ask them where you got it from or anything like that. We'll just knock them out, try to make sure we have clarity, and then we'll move forward. So once again, next class is optional. It's like a review day. If you have your questions, bring them on next class. If not, you make sure you have a great weekend. Be safe, and I will see you on Monday, if I don't see you on Friday. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good one.